I don't know how many games this has happened for. I think the answer is probably every game ever released. We talked about this with Guilty Gear. We talked about this with every fighting game I've ever covered. The game comes out and people are having a blast or whatever. And then the discourse. And the discourse is usually this game, the new modern game, is scrubby and bad and for babies. And the last game was for adults who are sophisticated and like smoke pipes. Every time we meet in neutral, we take 10 steps back and we turn and draw. Bam, we have an honest gentleman's duel. It awarded skill. This game does not. Sucks that this game sucks, but the last game was cool. That's kind of the message. Now, sometimes it's not as harsh. The CEO champion and two-time Capcom Cup champion Meta made a tweet that said, I'm having the same experience. So he even knows Street Fighter 6 is the scrubbiest Street Fighter I played, which is fair. He's played 2, right? Maybe he played some 4 also, I'm not sure. And said, hope it keeps getting better like 5 year by year. Now, this is true. I think most people think 5 did get better year by year. Funny tweet. Now, it would be remiss of me not to point out at 8:44 p.m. on July 13th, he made this tweet. And I do notice, I'm a big Meta fan. I'm sorry to do this to you. Casa tweeted the results of their tournament at 8:46 p.m. and he got second place. Now I just did a little bit of arithmetic. Now look, I'm a Meta fan, I'm a believer, but there is a correlation. This is how fighting games work. All of this is because he got second place. He got second to Knuckle Dudang. Like, it's not even like he lost to old Johnny Donuts or something. You should not be able to open Twitter for 24 hours after a loss, man. Of course, we got the response, crossover. Excellent player, by the way. I love this tweet. Thank you, crossover. It's truly a gift. Street Fighter's changed over the years. Street Fighter used to be all about having a good neutral game, footsies whiff punishing. But in SF6, those fundamentals don't matter much. Love this tweet. This is one of my favorite tweets I've ever seen. It's one of those tweets that's like so not true that you know everybody's gonna just start talking some shit. All I did was click on the quote retweets, which there are many. It's like free video content. My timeline is just full of bullshit all night. Brutus immediately responded with this. This is Street Fighter 5. Man, you guys thought Marissa was bad, dude. You guys thought this was bad. Look at all the footsies on display. Activation, 50-50. This guy, Storm Kubo, by the way, is fighting Tokido Akuma, you know, trying to use skill and footsies. Meanwhile, he flails like 6 times, doesn't move on block that's unsafe, activates into plus on block V-trigger into 50-50 command grab or strike, over 50% life with no meter, by the way. He landed EX command grab.
Oh, he got him off the trigger activation. Yeah, no meter
50%, no meter, by the way.
This actually might be enough.
He just dies. Word. You guys think throw loops are bad? Imagine if there was stun. Dude,
Yeah,
you
no
guys...
meter available, but still
Look
huge
at his
damage.
stun gauge. Look at his stun. So that's Street Fighter 5. That's the last game. This is the honest Street Fighter. And then, obviously, classics. Boy, this is honest Street Fighter. Look at Ryu go. Ryu working hard. Tokido. You know, you may have felt bad for him in the last clip, but I'll tell you what, he does not feel bad for John Choi in this clip.
Real man's game right
I'll
here.
tell you what, this is honest Street Fighter right here. This is 30 years ago. This is how they were playing in the arcades. He's fighting honest Ryu, and look at him go. My man is doing special moves. This is, yep. No, he yells, "Nar, bro." I love this clip too. Classic jump over, activate. Oh, little anti-air action on the invincible activation. Might be fine. Surely nothing bad's gonna happen to you. This is honest footsies, right? It's Chun-Li, it must be honest footsies. This is the honest Street Fighter footsies that I'm here for. Nothing weird happening here. This is normal Street Fighter. This is what Street Fighter looks like. It used to be honest, and now people can move across the screen horizontally pretty quickly. And that's not okay. It's kind of scrubby, and I don't like that. They're green and shit. This is maybe nothing more honest. This game has parries, right? Fair and honest Street Fighter. Imagine if Drive Rush cost 0 drive gauge. You just hit forward with Makoto. He just died. Like, look at how much life he has when he gets hit by the command grab. That's it. She doesn't even start with 2 bars. She builds it in the combo and then builds more after. It's a good thing you can't dash while being green in this game. That would be too much. And then this one is one of my favorite clips of Street Fighter ever, by the way. At the screen, because you know what's gonna happen after. And maybe my favorite example of this. Sorry, Damn Die, big fan. Love your play in both ST and 4, and you seem like a swell human. But
is that primarily why you remain focused exclusively on ST and why you have, I guess, chosen not to play like AE and Cross Tekken? Or do
it's
you
about Street Fighter 4, by the way. It's not even about Street Fighter 5.
still regularly compete in those games from time to time?
I was competing in those. It's just steadily declined. I'm not entering any other tournaments here. I won't enter any other tournaments in EVO. It's just because I just don't enjoy it. You know, I liked that a lot of people played it, and I liked all the competition, but I can never find like a comfort zone. Like in ST, I feel in control always, and I love that. I never feel helpless. You know, I'm knocked down. I don't have to deal with some like Ibuki mix-ups or Seth mix-ups where it doesn't matter how much I practice, I'm always going to be susceptible to that.
There was only pure, honest, neutral game in footsies, right? And you didn't die to this knockdown nonsense in games like 4, which, by the way, was an OG honest game when 5 came out, and is now like an OG for real honest game now that 6 came out.
Right. So there's no way to waste that super.
Yeah, and if he whiffs, then yeah, he's inputting super every single time now. It's just an option.
He's always in control in this game when he gets knocked down. He doesn't have to deal with Ibuki. He doesn't have to deal with...
He doesn't do it!
God!
Damn Die is so frustrated with himself because he had all those opportunities.
You know, he's always in control. Always. Now, look, I'm not even going to tell you whether Street Fighter 6 is scrubby or things are bad or good or what needs to change. All I'm going to tell you is I've heard this once or twice. When I read it, I don't even look at it and think, maybe I should consider this. I just look at it and see, ooh, I can't wait to see all the great quote retweets of old games and stupid bullshit that was in all those games. I don't need to tell you that Street Fighter as a series historically is full of nonsense. These games have activations that are invincible into killing you. These games have command grabs that then you die from 90%. These games have neutral skipping tools that go full screen. These games have loopable Oki that's unblockable or hard to block. And they're not predicated around only playing honest ground-based neutral. That's what they tell you. They tell you that they're there for the ground-based neutral. And then you look over and they're playing ST Claw and you're like, wait a minute, and then you're dead. That's the trick. That's how they get you in. They're like, oh, you know, I'm not trying to mess around in your Guilty Gear or whatever. It's a little too degenerate for me. And then you jump in and you're like, dude, you're playing Edmund Honda and doing full screen headbutt over and over. And they're like, yeah, this is footsies, motherfucker. When I read a tweet like that, I want to tell you the exact thought in my head is not, is Mena spitting? Is this game scrubby? The exact thought in my head, I looked at the timestamp. I said, what tournament did Mena play in today? I was like, so true. And then I saw this tweet and I was like, this tweet's going to be a banger. And I clicked this button right here and I was just loving it. I wish there was a button under that said click here to translate the tweet. And it says, damn, I got second place in Casa. GG's to all my opponents and I'll get them next time. Smile. If you want more proof that people are going through it, you know, before CEO, Mena tweeted like, I don't know, guys. I'm struggling in this game. I'm not sure if I can do it. And then he won CEO. Big Bird was tweeting like, I don't know if Marissa can do it, guys. Like, I actually am not sure if this character can fight at a high level or not. And he won Red Bull Kumite. You know, even the best players got some self-doubt sometimes, right? They're going through it too. It's not just you. When you lose online in your match to go from Silver 3 to Silver 4 and you're like, I don't know if Ken can do it. I might need to find a stronger character. Like, it's not just you. When you read this kind of stuff, don't be fooled. All these old games also have lots of things that are the exact description of what they'll tell you is not in them or that they liked about them. The first version of the game is the first version of the game. It will be iterated on and changed. And this first version I think is great. So whatever it ends up, I'm sure it'll be even better. What's the period of time or window of time before someone can make a serious criticism of the game's design decisions? I'm not sure, but I haven't seen one. That tweet didn't have a serious criticism of the game's design. Twitter.com is a free website currently. I mean, who knows in the future, right? But you can just like, you know, plug in a keyboard and then type whatever you want to anybody at any point. And your opinion's just out there, you know? And if you spend like $8, it's even more out there. I have to read your stupid ass opinion before I scroll to all the human beings responding below, you know what I mean? If you're trying to say that all negative takes about 6, people just shoot down, there's like a huge amount of people who are like Drive Rush should be worse in some way, and lots of people are like, yeah, that makes sense. People saying Drive Rush should not eat inputs or that the input reader is bad, and like lots of people agree with you. But it's when people tweet things like they should make raw Drive Rush and neutral like 5 bars. Like everybody's like, nah, probably not. That's stupid. That sounds like a skill issue. And they're like, I'm not allowed to say anything about the game or it's a skill issue. Like, that's like where you come to a head. I think if you have a fair opinion, no one's going to be like, you idiot. And if they do, they're probably an idiot. You lose people when you make comparisons to old games or say things like this that are just not true. As a content creator, I have a lot of experience with this, but maybe you don't if you're just like a random person on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, there was somebody in my YouTube comments who was trying to argue with me about throw loops. And I was like, okay, let me respond to them seriously. And then their response was basically like, yeah, you keep saying this. And when throw loops get removed, you're a fucking shill. And you're going to be like, I always hated throw loops. This game is good now, smile. And you're going to say this, this, and that. And like, listen, when somebody proves to you that they're a fucking idiot and they're typing random words, you just stop responding to them. I'm like the worst person to call a shill. I got fired for not shilling, for being like, hey, you should do this better. This is a problem. And guess what? You know what I'll do if I get fired again for being honest and they know it's honest? Then I'll just do the same thing I did before, which is not do Street Fighter commentary. I'll just tell you straight up, I have no problem with it. So, you know, you probably see me made this video maybe 12 times. Dude, Project L doesn't even have a game before it. When Project L comes out, I'm gonna have to be like, yes, old games in fact did have mix-ups. And the more you play fighting games, the more you'll see it. I think there's also an additional level of stress for everybody playing the game who's trying to win. Because, like, imagine if you're a Street Fighter player and you're doing well in 5, things are going great, and then Street Fighter 6 gets announced. The game has $1 million for first place. Dude, every time you lose, how can your brain not tell you that everything is wrong with the game and you need to win? It's gonna be so bad when the CPT qualifiers kick up. Once people no longer are in the running to win the money at all, ooh boy, you're gonna see some gnarly tweets, bro. Listen. Yeah, Leffen had a dramatic injury at Ludwig's tournament. Didn't you hear? He ordered Starbucks delivery and a staple shanked his thumb. He almost had to lose that hand. He almost died, and then he boldly stayed in the tournament and won. So there you go, you know. I told him he ought to fucking order Starbucks and shank himself every time if he's just gonna win the tournament after. It's like a blood sacrifice. It's like, start doing hand signs and shit like it was a Naruto. He summoned the Toad Sage. Like, that shit is unreal. I just need a little blood sacrifice, that's all.